We'll call that to order, call back to order. Chief of Staff, my Director of Homeland Security and Emergency Management, Jason Millsaps, if you would please.
Judge and Commissioners, good morning. Thank you. We have a resolution to present. This is for funding to address our response to COVID-19. Commissioner Noack last week very quickly moved $20,000 over to OEM for us to make some immediate purchases for PPE supplies for law enforcement and our first responders. We're going to probably run through that fairly quickly as we're sourcing additional supplies and test kits, so we need an additional $50,000. The resolution will pull $70,000 total out of contingency, 50 coming to OEM, and the other 20 going back to Commissioner Noack's line item to repay what he sent to us already.
Move.
All in favor? Opposed?
Judge, can we add one thing to that, that I think that you guys should have the option to pull an additional $50,000 without additional court action if you need it. So let's make it $120,000.
Can you pass the resolution as it is to refund and the 50, and then if we need to change
Then let's
the
go back and do
amount
another.
Sounds good.
and do another one?
We should be covered through this week because we're coming back next
On
week.
Tuesday, you'll be
Anyway,
good.
so if we need additional funds, we'll bring another resolution forward.
Got it.
Yep, still moving.
Okay, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. I have a motion to adjourn. Were there any other topics of discussion, miscellaneous, that we missed in this particular issue? If not, we have a motion to adjourn.
Move.
All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you all very much. Hey, thank you all for being here this morning. Obviously, there's a lot of issues going on here and a lot of moving parts as it relates to the coronavirus. Today I have with us our Commissioner and our Precinct 3, James Noack, who has joined us. We just are following our Commissioner's Court. And I have my Director of Homeland Security and Emergency Management, also my Chief of Staff, Jason Millsaps. And this morning, as you know, probably know by now, we came out with what I believe a measured approach to closing of restaurants, bars, that sort of thing in our area. We have moved from the 250 to the 50, as we did in the last few days, as it has related to how people can meet, when they can meet, basically in terms of how many people. So I believe our approach is a measured approach, but Jason Millsaps, my Chief of Staff, is going to go over this order that we have right now as we have talked about it, and we're all going to be here available to answer your questions. Okay?
So, starting today at 3 o'clock, by order of the county judge, restaurants shall cease operations for in dining if they exceed more than 50 persons. So they should not allow more than 50 persons at any one time in total in the dining rooms. They need to space tables at least 10 feet apart to give people enough social distance inside the restaurant. Restaurants can continue all to-go, takeout, delivery, and catering options that they currently offer. They should not allow any employee to report to work if they are sick. We're asking them to adhere to strict hand washing and sanitizing operations while they are open. All bars or clubs shall limit occupancy to 50 persons or less at any one time in total. Movie theaters should limit occupancy to 25 persons per screen at any one time. This is taking effect again today at 3 o'clock. We're asking for strict compliance with this, or we could order restaurants and bars and theaters to close. And as you're aware, with the ever-changing guidelines coming out from the CDC, this could change today, it could change tomorrow, it could change next hour. So we're asking for patience in this because we're getting information as we speak. I know the president's on stage right now talking, so we're expecting additional stuff.
Yeah, in the scheme of things, it's all very liquid, it's very fluid here in terms of what's taking place. And thank you, Commissioner Noack, for being here today and for your input. And we have been in touch with our health district, the people who are involved in our medical community. As you know, we have a huge medical complex here in the area, and have been in touch with those people as well, especially as we met yesterday to discuss these issues and how we were going to come forward continue with our plan in dealing with this crisis.
That is correct, and I think that a lot of time and thought was put into this. We understand what a negative financial impact this is having on the community, and so we were really trying to bring about, as the judge said, a real measured approach, something where we can try to create social distancing and at the same time be able to allow these restaurant owners and business owners to be able to conduct some sort of business. Also, it provides the public some sort of normalcy. If we can do this in a safe and efficient manner, we feel like it is prudent, but it is important for the public to know that the judge is ready to act. Should we feel that this, we get different recommendations from the CDC, we would adjust accordingly. But you know, right now it's a time for people to really take social distancing seriously, and we're going to do everything we can to try to make sure that our community is safe.
How does this square with the overarching message from everybody who says just stay home if you can?
Well, I think it is a modified version of a just stay home. Obviously, because we've got to operate our businesses, we do have to go from here to there. We have to shop. We've got to get groceries. You know, one of the things that was brought up to me was that one of the things we forget about restaurants is that restaurants in and of themselves are a means by which people also acquire food, whether or not they do it through drive-through, where they sit down, whatever, but it's a huge source on benefit of people. So in our particular issue, in the overarching scheme of we do want people to stay at home, but we understand that that has to be modified at some level, short of declaring something outrageous. And but at this point, I think that's what we've done, and we have cooperation of our commissioners and our community leaders, and you know, Montgomery County is resilient. You know, it's our people are good and they are virtuous. They're good people. We have proved again and again that we rise to the occasion. I'm so encouraged by their response and wanting to do the right thing here. So, you know, that's in the overarching position on it. The people are with us on this, and we, at the end of the day, business life, and that's what we're going to work towards, and that's our overarching, Commissioner.
And if I may add to this, that what this gives the businesses the opportunity to do, the bars and restaurants, is it gives them the opportunity to make the decision for themselves. Instead of being heavy-handed, we're giving them the opportunity, should they choose to do takeout and delivery only. I think that's the best and most prudent choice for them. But short of shutting them down and telling them that's what they have to do, we're giving them that choice first. And I can tell you that I talked to many of the restaurant owners and managers of the restaurants. One of the most popular ones in Houston last night, they had 2 tables. I'm sorry, the most popular in the Woodlands had 2 tables last night. And so they're going to start to take proactive measures on themselves. You can't afford to operate with 2 tables coming in. So I think this is really going to encourage them to beef up their to-go and delivery type options.
Yeah, we're seeing it throughout the county right now.
Judge, I've got someone asked me on bowling alleys.
To be continued. It is a topic that came up. You notice we did take action on theaters. You know, the difficulty here is there's no end to the amount of areas that we can all of a sudden put restrictions on. In the overarching element, as you mentioned just a few minutes ago, we are seeing compliance to social distancing without having to tell these people this. I saw the same thing yesterday, and as we go to restaurants around the area, they're already doing it. People are not wanting to be around each other, I can tell you, and they're not wanting to put their hand in the same ball that somebody else has used, and I mean, it's, you know, so how do we go about policing that? There's no end to the amount of things that we can name to end. Our overarching concept is we're trying to keep, we are taking the original, the second recommendation was 50, limiting that, a modified version with our restaurants and bars and theaters and that sort of thing. And we're hoping that the rest will move in that direction. Until something else comes down to us that's absolute, we believe that's the best version that we can do of the whole issue.
And don't forget, the order is still urging non-governmental entities to comply with the request. So
That's right.
50 is the number we're shooting for. So be it a bowling alley or any sort of other venue, we're telling them not to congregate in groups larger than 50. And while we may not be mandating that yet, that is certainly what we're urging to the private sector.
Yeah. All right.
So
yeah,
right
thank
now,
you all.
Judge, it's just mandatory. It's not enforced, right? And then you guys don't try to enforce it.
No, the restaurant is in order. The restaurant, the bars, whatever you saw in that recent order. The rest of those are urging them, and with the idea that, you know, here we are in an environment of freedom. We're a republic, man. We live in an area of freedom, which demands that people police themselves. We can't police everybody unless we become a police state. And man, we are all out on that in Montgomery County. I know you all are as well. So we're expecting and believing that our people will take action. And we're already seeing it, as the commissioner had mentioned, that we saw in this one restaurant last night where there was only 2 tables in a very busy place. So people are already doing it, so, and that's where we're at. One more, yeah.
Another thing you guys talked about today was the purchasing enough equipment for your emergency personnel. Do you guys have currently enough equipment? I know that there's shortages.
No, just like every government agency across this country, everyone's asking for the same supplies. We're in line with everyone else. The state did receive its stockpile allotment from the national stockpile yesterday, and it's being distributed down to the lower echelons of distribution lines. We're supposed to get some of that later today or tomorrow. It will not be enough to accommodate the current need. We're still sourcing that. So the resolution that we adopted just a little while the court adopted, would give us some funds to make immediate purchases as we can find and source those items, and that's what we're working
So
on.
that we won't have to wait.
Talking about that, convenience stores, Walmart's, building people, I mean, stores like a Home Depot, Lowe's, how you guys may handle that?
From the current orders, there's been 3 orders signed by the judge. They would be exempt from that. They need to limit anyone gathering at 50 at more. Those stores are large enough, people can spread out, they're fine. We did specifically exempt grocery stores from those limitations because people need access to the foods. But things are changing. The CDC guidelines are just come out with 10 persons or less. So we don't know how quickly that's going to evolve into an order. So we just urge everyone to take some self-responsibility, stay away from folks, don't go out unless you have to, and only get into public spaces like restaurants, theaters, bowling alleys, any of that stuff if it's absolutely necessary.
Common sense.
All right.
What about,
Common
Judge,
sense.
Thank
quick
you all very
question, what
much.
about
We
county
really have
offices?
to end. Let's go.
Status on county offices,
They're open at this present
everything
moment.
is open?
Yeah, everything is open.
Everything's
Yeah.
open, okay.
We're
All right.
good. Thank you all very much.
Do
We
you have an
appreciate
update
y'all
on the
coming.
guy who,
The new one is test swabs and the viral medium. Test kits. Test kits are being modified as we speak to include swabs and viral medium where we can send this off to the labs. We're sourcing those from other places. As most people are aware, a lot of these things are manufactured in China and they've been delayed in getting it out. Thankfully, China's starting to come back online with stuff, so we're anticipating large shipments. But those are the biggest things that we need, and it's urged, as the CDC has said, unless you're sick, a mask only prevents your saliva, your spit from getting out if you're talking. It does not prevent it from coming in if you're breathing. So most people that aren't ill do not need a mask. So don't rush out and go buy the mask on the shelves, because we're doing that. We're going to every store, every local place we can find supplies and buying that, as well as ordering it from vendors from across the country. So
and I guess this would help your emergency personnel protect them.
absolutely, yes.
Anything else that you can think of, Jason? Anything I have?
No, we'll have more details by email today when we get the updated numbers and conditions of our patients.
And then also, will you be able to let me know whenever you guys actually get your emergency equipment? Maybe send us some pictures.
Absolutely. Yep. Perfect.